All right, welcome to the 2024 Iowa State Dual Bracket Reveal Show. The first time this has happened in the state of Iowa. Super excited to bring it to you here on I Wrestle. I'm Tony Hager. I'm going to be alongside Eric Shares, our dual team ranker. From the start to finish, you've had your hands on the dual rankings all year, so there's no better person to have alongside me than this guy right here. So welcome to Des Moines. Welcome to the show.
Some might disagree. Nice to be here, though. This is the tallest building I've been in a while. Some would say it's above tree level, but yeah, let's get going here.
Nice little, I like that little dig there right away. So you can follow all of the state dual coverage on all our social media at iWrestle on Instagram, Twitter, Facebook. We'll have a bunch of free content throughout the whole Saturday leading up to the brackets, the start of the first round. Let's get right into it. We know why you're here. We've been waiting, patiently all day for these brackets. The regional duels happened last night. Not a ton of crazy surprises, right? And our number one seeds, they're no surprise. They've been really at the top from the get-go. Number one in Class 1A is Alburnett. The last time they won it was back in 2016. This team is locked and loaded. Been really towards the top almost the whole year, back and forth with Don Bosco as a number one ranked team. In Class 2A, Osage, the number one ranked team, number one seed, has won it 5 times, and they are looking to go back-to-back this year. In Class 3A, number one, Southeast Polk, they've made it their 16th straight dual championship appearing, dating back to 2008. So pretty dang impressive here for the Southeast Polk Rams. They've gone wire to wire, the number one ranked team in Class 3A. So without further ado, let's get right into these brackets. Get your screenshots ready. Class 1A, the number one seed, Alburnett, 30-4. They're going to be taking on the number 8 seed, Wapsie Valley, 18-9. The number 5 seed, Nashville Plainfield, 21-7. Will be taking on number 4, Lake Mills. That's 23-6. Then down on the bottom side of the bracket, we've got number 3, Don Bosco, making their 11th straight appearance at the state dual championships. They're 10-4, taking on Jessup, the number 6 ranked team in the state, on a 12-2 record. And the bottom side, we've got the number 2 seed, Wilton, 21-0, undefeated. The only team that is undefeated in this bracket will be taking on number 7, Hinton, that is 20-1. Now to Class 2A, number 1, Osage Green Devils coming in with a 26-3 record, looking to go back-to-back. They're going to be taking on Humboldt. They had a crazy regional last night. They come in 20-1 as the 8th seed. Then down here, we've got number 5, Sergeant Bluff Luton. They are undefeated on the season, taking on no stranger to the state dual championships. That's West Delaware, and they are 18-2 on the season, the number 4 seed. Then on the bottom side of the bracket, number 3, Creston. They've got 1 loss on the season, taking on number 6, Independence. They are 22-5 on the season. Then on the bottom side, we've got number 2, Red Hot Mount Vernon, 4-0, undefeated. Only undefeated team bracket in here besides Sergeant Bluff Luton. They're going to be taking on Algona, the 20-2 Bulldogs, and the number 7 seed. Then we're going right up to Class 3A. Your number 1 Southeast Polk Rams, they are undefeated on the season. Wire to wire, the number 1 team in the state, taking on a familiar foe here these last few years. The number 8 seed, Waverly Shell Rock, 9-3 on the season. And then below that, we'll have number 5, Ankeny Centennial, 1 loss on the season, taking on the Dodgers, number 4, 10-2. And Bettendorf, number 3, who's gone in and out of number 1 in the tournament team ranking. So we'll see how their dual team looks this season. They are 20-2, taking on Waukee Northwest. That's 12-2 and the number 6 seed. And then we got Dubuque Hempstead, the number 7, taking on number 2, Indianola, who is undefeated on the season. Really impressed us at the Battle of Waterloo, taking out some heavy hitters here in Class 3A. So here, Shares, myself, we're going to be breaking down each of these brackets, so we welcome you to stay with the show here. We're going to go right into Class 1A, look at each matchup, maybe give a little predictions of our semifinals and finals. So let's get right to it. Class 1A, Alburnett, the number 1 seed. No surprises that we see these guys up here at the top, Shares.
Yeah, so Bosco and Alburnett met up at the Battle of Waterloo. I had Bosco won. Alburnett beats them. So they flip-flop, but your top 3 kind of stayed the same. As far as seeds go, really no surprise. 1 through 5, that was what I had them in my final ranking, and about that most of the year. Where it kind of changed was Jessup and Hinton. I had them flip-flopped, so that'll set up Jessup and Bosco first round at the 3-6, and that'll give Hinton, Wilton first round. Wapsie, you kind of figure they were going to be 8 but they did get a big upset at regional duels over West Hancock.
Yeah, and so this, breaking down this first round matchup, the number 1 ranked team, there's 8 ranked wrestlers from Alburnett. We've only got you got 2 potential ranked matchups, right? We always see kind of some shifting in here. Do see Alburnett, big favorite over Wapsie Valley. You got their number 11 in the dual team rankings last week going into regionals. We've got a ranked matchup at 106, number 3, Allie DeWitt versus Caden Belinsky, number 7. And then at 150, we've got a ranked matchup as well. What we know, the heart of the lineup of Alburnett, though, starts at 120.
Yeah, so they're a team that's very solid, the bottom half. The top half, not quite as solid. Wapsie Valley, really pretty decent throughout. They've pretty much been a top team all year, so they're definitely good. I think DeWitt and Belinsky, that'll be a good match. Like you said, obviously 5-6 at 150. Another one that I have marked out there is at 215. You have Emmett Fleshman, number 7, and then I think that'd be a good match with Derek Helsenbeck from Wapsie Valley. He actually got a fall that got them pretty much here to state duels for over West Hancock. So that's another one I have penciled out there. Outside of that, you kind of have some mismatches with ranked guys, and then not for Wapsie. But I mean, this is a top 10 team here in Wapsie, so they're going to give them a go.
I'm trying to remember, do they flip at the beginning of, say, a dual championship for where the tournament's going to start and end?
Yeah, the weight, yeah.
Yeah, so we don't know exactly where the tournament will start. Nope. That will happen at weigh-ins?
Yeah.
Just someone from the Iowa High School Athletic Association will flip to where we're at. So that's kind of an unknown of where we're at as far as people gaming, really where they plan to wrestle the first round, second, and the finals ultimately, right? So next matchup, Nashville Plainfield for against Lake Mills. Both teams, have had some dual team losses, right? So these guys have had some adversity, so they're not used to just always winning. But there's only one matchup that you've got highlighted here that we should watch. Maybe Rinkin bumps up to Russell Helgeson. What are your thoughts on these guys? Have seen a lot of each other this year.
Yeah, so we kind of have your standard lineup here. I mean, we know there's going to be some bumping around, but you just can't predict it, like you said, with the flip. You just have to see what it's going to be. So we'll just start with what their normal lineup's going to be. But these are 2 teams that have wrestled 4 different times. They've wrestled twice in a duel, and they're in the same conference, and they actually wrestled last week too. So I'm sure when they saw the brackets, they're like, again, we got to wrestle. But Nashua's been a little bit injured throughout the year. They're some of their upper weights, even through the middle. Those guys haven't wrestled every meet. Actually, Lake Mills has won both of the duels they've had. But again, Nashua was without a couple people in each of those. But then the last 2 times they've wrestled at an individual tournament, Nashua Plainfield has come out on top. And even one of those, Nashua still didn't have everybody. So I guess your biggest question here is going to be, is Nashua going to have everyone healthy? Some of those guys have been in and out, but I would imagine, if you're close, you're going to go here. So, this is going to be a good one. These guys have all seen each other. Like you said, there's not any ranked matchups on paper because they don't meet up with each other, but there's going to be a lot of good matches here.
Yeah, one thing that I do like about the dual state championships now that they've moved away from the individual state championships is we see some of those highly ranked wrestlers actually competing. Yep. With teams that are on the bubble here of being 4, 5, 6, 7, we actually see some of those guys competing for seeding purposes. So the duels do matter now more than they did in the past here when they've been at the individual state championship. All right, so let's go down here to the bottom side of the bracket. No stranger to Don Bosco. Obviously, you're a Don Bosco homer. Everyone does know that.
Everyone knows that.
10-4. They had some losses. Battle Waterloo, where there was some controversy there about their seed in that bracket, but They were down. We had they had a lot of injuries coming into the Battle of Waterloo. Is this a team that can get back to the state finals and the state dual championships?
Yeah, I mean they're getting healthy at the right time. That's why you hold guys out, so they're where they need to be at the end of the year. Yeah, I mean I think they're as good as they've been all year right now. So it's at the right time. They match up against Jessup here. Actually met at the Herb Urgens tournament, individual tournament, so they didn't all match up. But definitely no stranger. Bosco actually outplaced them in 10 of the 14 weights. Jessup did in 3, and then 1 neither guy placed. But what I can say about Jessup, this is the first time they made state duels. Got a big win over Lisbon. It's a good thing I didn't have to go through Jessup on the way down here because I think there was wanted posters up for me in Jessup. But
yeah, kudos to Jessup, right? They've really been the last few years. They've got some names in there. Bergman, Hines. These guys are they're sophomores, right? So we got a first look to kind of see what this Jessup team would be in the coming years. Last year with a lot of just being young. So they're led by those top ranked wrestlers, but so be interesting to see just kind of how Jessup performs here against Don Bosco, and then on the backside. But there's some fun little matchups.
Yeah, and it's not a fluke they're here. We had them number 9 the last ranking. I think 11 was where they started preseason. So they were right there the whole time. Like I said, beat Lisbon to make it. So pretty good team there.
So Bosco's open at 13.
Yep.
Do we see Schwab, Russell, Bergman, or Hines? This first matchup, what are your thoughts on what's the right play here? I guess it depends on the flip, right?
Yeah, it always matters with the flip, but I think Bergman and Hines are about. They're both good, so it's not like you're saying, "Hey, let's take the easy 6 here." There, it's about the same thing at both. So, I don't see too much movement there.
Do you wrestle Bergman just so? I could see Bosco saying, maybe we don't want to wrestle Bergman because we're probably going to see him at the individual state tournament. We really don't need that win to win this duel.
So Schwab already wrestled him at that tournament. He pinned him. So, that's the other thing too is these, like you said, these matches matter because these are for rankings points too. So, you could definitely, if a team doesn't think they have a chance to win, they might try to get that guy they think they're going to have at state just to get the rankings point above him. Yeah. So, I think you see pretty well straight up here for the most part, but yeah.
Even being the 3 seed, they've got Schwab number 1, Youngblood number 1, Knack number 1. Both Knacks are number 1 ranked wrestlers. So it's weird when I'm looking, talking about the number 1 seed in the opening of the show, and Don Bosco isn't the number 1 team in the state. It's been a while since we haven't been talking about Bosco being the number 1 team. They're a different dual team than they are a tournament team, but Alburnett is a pretty solid tournament team and dual team. So I can't wait to see how this one really plays out. But they're going to have to go through Wilton, who's undefeated on the team on the bottom side of the second seed, taking on Hinton. They've only had 1 loss on the year too. So good to see Hinton in the state dual championships.
Yeah, so this is the second year in a row they've made it. I think we hit the over on Bosco talk there, and I just want everyone to know you led the way. Anyways, yeah. Number 7 seed Hinton, number 2 seed Wilton. Preseason here I had Wilton 2, wire to wire basically. Hinton was at 9, so again, not a huge surprise here. This is Hinton's second straight appearance, and that is their second in school history. Wilton, that makes 8 appearances for them. They have won it once, and again, this is their second appearance. So Wilton's championship was back in 1993. You're kind of 2 different sides of the state here, so really haven't met up a ton. Wilton's kind of a team that they're better in the bottom half again, a little lighter in the top half. Hinton, they match up decent against them. They 3 of their ranked guys are against Wilton's ranked guys, so that's not ideal for them. But in the upper weights, they do have 3 ranked guys as well. So, there's going to be points scored here by Hinton for sure.
Both teams are fairly young. Wilton's got 1 senior. Hinton's got 2 seniors on their starting squad, right? So
3 of them, yep.
We're going to be seeing, Hinton's an up-and-coming team. Those ranked matchups that we're going to see will be at 32, 38, and 44. So that's going to be really the part of the duel that you're going to watch. If it starts at 6, obviously Wilton's going to start strong. And I just like seeing Hinton because it's not a traditional team that we hear a lot of in Class 1A, right? So kudos to that squad for getting into Class 1A. All right, so kind of looking forward, if we're just going chalk right here in the semifinals, Alburnett, Lake Mills, who do we see in the finals here, you think?
So for me, I have Alburnett and Nashua Plainfield in the semis. Bottom side, I have Bosco and Wilton. No surprise down there. Like we said, 4-5's pretty close meet between Nashua and Lake Mills, but I have Nashua winning that one.
So, if we go to chalk then as far as a number 1, number 2 seed, because you got Bosco Wilton, which is obviously you got a little bias there, but that's gonna be fun. That's gonna be probably the duel to watch in the semifinals, right? We'll see Wilton and Don Bosco is the duel to watch.
I disagree. I
have
Alburnett and Nashua 1-point duel.
Okay.
If they go straight up. Now again, there's no need to speculate because you don't know what the flip is, so we're just gonna go straight up from there. But I have that one 34-33 Alburnett.
Okay.
So
heck yeah.
It's gonna be a good one. I would have my eye on that one probably. And again, the Bosco and Wilton one, I have that at 39-30 for Bosco. So
okay. So
you're gonna want to watch both.
So
of them.
Bosco going back to the state finals is what you're predicting right now.
That's what the paper says.
Okay. All right. So that's going to be our bracket reveal show. We are going to have Cher's going to have a breakdown of all of this, right? We got lineups already that we got projected lineups, right? We're going to have predictions on the website. So stay locked to that here the next coming days. We're obviously going to be at the Girls State Championship on Thursday and Friday, state duels on Saturday. So that's our Class 1A breakdown. Let's get let's switch it right up. Class 2A, Osage at the top. They're no stranger to Class 2A at the top, right? They've got the number 8th seeded team, Humboldt. They're 20-1 here, and if you remember last year, Osage going into the state dual championships, they were West Delaware, Osage. They've kind of been going back and forth. They got pinned in the last match from Kittleson to knock off West Delaware. The place went crazy at Extreme Arena. Osage, they've got a ton of kids that are ranked wired, from bottom to the top. They're really, really good in the middle lineup, right? Class 2A has been the Osage show really this year. They're not, they've 26-3. They've gone Battle Waterloo, had some tough matchups there, right? But Osage at the top, they're definitely the team to beat, don't you think?
Yeah, they've been one all year long. Top 3 have pretty much been how we said. I did have 4 through 8 a little different than we have here. I actually had Indy a little bit lower this year, but just kind of continuing my hate, I guess, east on Interstate 20 or Highway 20. But anyways, had that a little bit different. Humboldt, they started the season ranked 23. Had a lot of big wins. I don't know if that's my fault ranking them that low or just they were unproven, I guess, to start the year. Indy was a little bit lower too. West Delaware as well. They were 10 just because, again, they were some of those guys were unproven. But, these have mostly been the teams here the second half of the year. So, yeah, this is looking to be a pretty good tournament here in 2A.
Yeah, Osage they've got a lot of seniors on their team. Got Kittleson coming in, Adams, Stengel, Gass, and Mueller, right? So how does this team look after this season? We'll dive into that after the season, right? But, they've just got a lot of seniors, a lot of experience in the state dual championships to lead this team through Class 2A. But there's only one matchup to watch really in this, depending on where everything comes down to. We've got Gass number 2 versus Hendricks number 1. Gass only has 5 matches on the year, undefeated. Brody 37-2, a freshman. He's wrestled in our event, really on the youth scene. Everyone knows that name, but see him, really kind of turn some heads this year at the state tournament, at the individual state tournament. But it starts here at the state duel, so really kind of getting his name out there, and really the Humboldt name, right? They've got a brand new facility up there. The program is on the rise up there, so kudos to
2
Coach.
years in a row now they've made it to state duels.
So kudos to them. Do see Osage, moving on here. The next matchup, West Delaware. Obviously, we talked about them getting pinned at the end from Osage to lose the state dual championship. So coach is going to have, going to be having them ready. They've got they've got the experience. Coach has definitely got the experience here. Sergeant Bluff Luton, they're undefeated though. They're going to be coming in here, the number 5 seed, looking to knock off West Delaware. So what do you see in this matchup that kind of catches your eye?
Yeah, it's definitely two teams from different sides of the states. Another team, West Delaware, hasn't totally been healthy all year long. Don't maybe place as high as they should at the Battle of Waterloo, a tournament I really like because it kind of helps, sort out where some teams are where they're at. If you just on paper here, their probable lineups, you don't have any ranked wrestlers that hit each other, even though both of them have 4. So I could really see some movement here in this meet, up or down, or depending on who's winning, who's losing, how the flip goes, as we said. West Delaware, kind of an interesting team here where they got 5 freshmen there. They got a bunch of juniors. They definitely have some proven guys in there. Sergeant Bluff is almost all upperclassmen, except for about 3 of them there. So to me, this is the meet to watch here in this round.
Yeah, there's just swing matches all over the place. Guys that have 50% records. Some of them have losing records. So in a duel, in a duel like this, getting off your back is going to be super important. If you can not just give up bonus points, that's a huge win for some of these guys. Obviously, the coaches are going to be able to, they're going to know who's going to be able to fight, who's not going to be able to fight. So I agree with you. That will be just kind of a fun one, a back and forth matchup. I think that we see up and down the lineup. Number 3, Creston. Creston has got just a healthy fan base. I'm excited just to see what they do showing up at Extreme Arena, who shows up. We've been down there for a couple duels. Cade Nissen has been down there and getting a lot of highlights. They're just a fun team to watch. Independence is no stranger to the state dual championships. We've only got one ranked matchup at 144 pounds potentially. You could see Independence bump Kramer, then Wheeland bumping up here. So I'd be curious to kind of see what Indy's thought process to move on from this matchup, but. That's really the only head-to-head matchup that really we see as far as big names go in this matchup. What else do you see?
Yeah, I could see that 65-pound match being pretty good too. You got Luke Johnson from Independence, not ranked, but definitely a quality wrestler. Independence is heavyweight. He's pretty good too. Brady McDonald, so that's a potential. Not a ranked matchup, but Creston has the number 6 ranked guy there. But yeah, Creston's a team you just copy and paste and number 3 every year in duels. They always have a pretty good team. They actually lead all 8 of these teams in state duel appearances with 16. There's a couple that are pretty close, but they're up there quite a bit. But then they've only won 1 dual title though, so that was back in 2007. So they're the 3 seed. Preseason they were 3 in the final ranking. So again, Independence, I had them ranked a little lower. They're definitely a quality team. A lot of good guys in there that aren't ranked that are still really good, that are going to be tough outs for any team they wrestle. So, again, no surprise there. Your 4-5, 3-6 is going to be your probably closest meets your first round. But, again, this is one that's probably within the margins, I would say, again.
Yep, so down on the bottom side, Mount Vernon, talking to a lot of people in that area, they're just fired. They've been fired up about Mount Vernon the last couple of years. They're undefeated on the season. They're taking on Algona, 20-2, the number 7 seed. Is it me or just Mount Vernon just kind of came out of nowhere, or am I just in La La Land in Class 2A?
Well, you haven't been reading the rankings I've been sending you because they started the season number 2.
This year, obviously, Mount Vernon, they were in the state dual championships last year. I'm just saying, traditionally, Mount Vernon being in the state dual championships, how many appearances have they had? You got that number handy?
I do, but I just slid over. Sorry.
It's all good.
But yeah. So they have 7, so they made it 7 times. They've won it once, and that was back in 1988, so it's definitely been a while. They made it last year as well, and then a couple times before that recently. But, yeah, so they were undoubtedly my number 2 to start the year. Actually, Algona was a team that I have been higher on the most of the year here. I knew they had a pretty tough regional that they came out on top of, so I had them 5. And that's another team, too. They only have 4 ranked guys, but there's no easy outs in that lineup. Everybody's won 2 out of 3 matches they've wrestled as far as their record goes or more.
This is their first state dual appearance or no?
Yeah, this is their first one. Yep. So,
kudos to Algona down there.
They're the 7th seed. I had them 5th the preseason and 5th in the final rankings. Yeah, like we said, this is their first appearance. So I mean, this is a pretty big one. Again, I mean, this, if you're a 7 seed, this is probably a match you're wanting because, I mean, like we said, it's not like Mount Vernon has 10 guys that are ranked highly. They're real good throughout. I mean, I'd still favor them for sure, but I mean, you get a couple to flip, you never know. So
our ranked matchups at 138, Barrett Morgan versus Jace Jaspers, 150, Tate Slangle versus Mikey Ryan. Those are our ranked matchups. Could see in the heart of the lineup, we've got 138, Algona's ranked, 150 they're ranked, 157 they're ranked, and Mount Vernon's got ranked wrestlers at 38, 44, and 50. And I believe Kramer knocked off Jaspers here recently. Or Jaspers lost a match here recently. I feel like that was in my brain somewhere, but I don't have the note, but I believe Jaspers did lose here recently. So we could see, moving on to the semifinals here on the bottom side, if Independence knocks off Crescent, we could see that Caden Kramer versus Jace Jaspers matchup. I believe he's the one that knocked him off. So that on the bottom side. But Crescent, again, solid dual team. Haven't been able to get it done, on the top side of winning the state dual championship. But who do you got on the bottom side going through here?
I think I have it chalk. I'm not going to go on a limb and say anything crazy, but yeah, I would say probably your 2 and 3. So Mount Vernon and Creston.
Yeah. As far as a fan base goes, that Crescent Independence one, I do think that's going to be the one to watch. On the top side, obviously Osage got a heck of a team. Humboldt's young. Do see them going through Sergeant Bluff in West Delaware. You go in chalk there, West Delaware versus Osage. These two have turned into really rivals, right? They've been the ones that have been in the state dual championship hunt for as many years as we've been covering this thing.
Yeah, I'm probably going to go Sergeant Bluff and Osage here. Just continue that hate east on Highway 20,
okay.
Right? So.
All right. so then we're looking at the Green Devils, likely in the finals. They've been wire to wire number 1 team. And then on the bottom side, that Creston, Independence, Algona, Mount Vernon. I think we look go chalk there. Mount Vernon moving on. They've got just a solid team. So that is that's our Class 2A breakdown. Any other kind of notes or anything like here that you've got for Class 2A?
No, I mean, it makes it fun with Osage because, I mean, they got their top end guys and then some other weights, they're a little thinner. So every meet with them is going to be fun.
Absolutely. So that's our Class 2A breakdown. All right, let's move on to Class 3A. Number 1, wire to wire, the number 1 ranked team by I Russell, Southeast Polk. They're going to make their 16th straight dual state championship, dating back clear back to 2008. They are looking to get back on top, and they've got none other than Waverly Shell Rock. These guys have wrestled a ton in the past years. There's no ways around this that these two don't really like each other. The corners are always heated because it has been coming down to them, right? Waverly Shell Rock's a little bit down this year. Southeast Polk is up. They're undefeated on the season. First matchup out of the gate. This one's going to be fun to watch. Waverly Shell Rock got through regional duels last night, right? And they were not projected to win. So them getting in, actually you had them projected to get in, right?
Of course I did.
Sure, you had them projected to get in. What's maybe your favorite part of this matchup?
Well, I mean, there's going to be blood in this match, right? Waverly won the last 3 state dual finals over Southeast Polk, so I don't expect there to be a lot of love loss here. It's going to be regardless of the final score. I think that one's going to be a lot of fun. Really not too many other surprises as far as seedings go. You had the top 4 as they play out here in the bracket. Actually had Centennial a little bit lower, but I had a lot of people telling me they were better this year. Just didn't quite have those matchups against some of those teams. Had Waukee Northwest and Hempstead right where they're at, and then basically Waverly the same thing because they beat Linn-Mar. So, yeah, I mean this is about right where I had it as far as, like I said, went 8 for 8 last night in my regional.
No big deal. Humble brag.
No big deal. So, yeah, I think this is going to be a lot of fun.
Number 1, that first matchup is my favorite one just because of the coaches. They have T-shirts that have subtle digs to each other. Southeast Polk has been known to already have printed shirts for the state finals. Sometimes they've been busted out, sometimes they haven't. Jessamyn's been, I guess maybe it's not Jessamyn, but 99% positive it's Jessamyn that usually has a T-shirt made with a dig at somebody. So I love that. Other people don't. Both these teams are liked by their own, hated by each other, and across the state. So this is definitely the one to watch. We've got ranked matchups at 20, 26, 38, 50, 75, and 90. Both Southeast Polk only has 2 wrestlers not ranked.
And one of them was ranked recently.
Yeah,
so,
Abe Bashong was in Class 2A at Winterset, came in here the second semester at Southeast Polk, seeing how curious to see how he does in Class 3A, but he was ranked in Class 2A, so a transfer in there. Waverly Shell Rock, we got to see them at Battle of Waterloo. They got a young team. They don't have those guys that they know for sure are going to be in the state finals on Saturday, right? Yep. They're kind of just middle tier, great wrestlers, right? But we've talking about Ryder Blocks, the Riggins. They've had these guys for years now, and now they're gone. They're really in rebuild mode.
Yeah, I mean, I think I probably favor Southeast Polk here for sure. They've just been dominant all year. But I mean, you look at the matchups and you're like, man, you got 3 versus 4 at one weight. 2 versus 4. 4 versus 7. I don't know. Southeast Polk isn't on their game. I mean, Waverly's probably going to score some points on them. So, yeah, they're number 1 for a reason for sure. But
yeah. Last year there was fireworks at the state duels, mainly that Riker-Graf matchup. Obviously, Southeast Polk, Waverly Shell Rock. We got the 3rd and 4th, Riggins versus Graf. I think that's probably the best one to watch. Trenary, Boss Diaz, and a heavyweight. You've got a top 5 ranked matchup. So Moving on, Centennial. You mentioned this. We have been, Anki Centennial has been like, man, you guys need to rank us, but they haven't had that tradition of duels of being in the top 5 area. So them kind of being under the radar all year is definitely probably on us, on you in general, but they are doing really well here postseason since Ed Winger. They're taking on Fort Dodge, a traditional team that has been on the traditional side, on the state dual side here in the state championships. Where do you see here in this matchup?
Yeah, give Centennial a break. They're still a pretty new school, right?
Yeah.
True. They had 3 appearances. They made the last 2 years. Like I said, obviously they don't have the tradition because it's a new school. Again, 4 versus 5, it's going to be close no matter what. I think you favor Fort Dodge here. I do anyways. Like I said, I think Centennial is absolutely a top 8 ranked team, but Fort Dodge has been top 4 all year. So,
yeah. Led by Drew, they got Drew Ayala, Coy Davidson, Trayshawn Ross. Those are the big names right now for the Dodgers. Centennial, the Brules. So Dodge, I believe they're gonna run with this one just on bonus points alone, don't you think?
Yeah, I think so. I mean, where it gets a little hairy there is 44-65, where Centennial has 4 ranked guys, and back in 1A. Fort Dodge does, but I think outside of that, Fort Dodge is pretty much going to control that. So, yeah, I think that's the difference.
Those upper weights just closing out the duel, depending on where they start, right?
Yep.
Ross, Hartman, Ross. Moving on down, Bettendorf. Bettendorf was at Battle Waterloo, so we got to see where they're at dual team wise. First time we've seen them at Battle Waterloo for a while,
it's
right?
Been a while, yeah.
Been a while since they've been back. Coach Knight fired up about the dual team. Bettendorf hasn't been really towards that top. We've been saying it for the last couple of years, though. Their youth program is on fire. Tons of great wrestling out there. They're going to take on Waukee Northwest. Brand new program, technically. If we're going the Centennial route, where we're saying they are fairly new. We got some fun ranked matchups against number 1 Colfax Christensen, Coaster. If we see these, Luna versus King, Freeman, Trevino. What else? What else are you seeing here? I like Bettendorf.
Yeah, I do too. Again, I think your kind of difference here is probably 44 up to 215, where Bettendorf has some more ranked guys and Waukee Northwest doesn't. But I mean, Bettendorf's been here for a while. This is their 6th straight appearance making it. 16th overall, but they haven't won it since 2014. So, obviously, they're really going to want to add to that. So, you're going to have, like you said, you got a 1 versus 2, a 1 versus 4. You're not going to want to take your eye off any of these 3A duels the whole time. If nothing else, at least there's rankings points up for individual state. So, I definitely favor Bet here, but this, again, more great matches in this one.
I'll be curious to see if they do wrestle Freeman. Obviously going for 4 this year, has struggled with a little, with some injuries. Looks to be back to health. Was able to knock off Coy Davidson at the Ed Winger, lost at the Council Bluffs Classic. So Carter Freeman looking to, really get back to his true form and trying to get that store state title this year. So
you never know the extent of the injuries, but to me, your thought process is always you want to win that first one, especially if you're the underdog. There's a big difference between top 4, maybe potential shot at the finals, and just being on the backside. So,
all right, down on the bottom side, Indianola, undefeated, really made a statement that they weren't just a team on paper that was going to be good this year, knocking off some big teams at the Battle of Waterloo. They're taking on Dubuque Hempstead, who the earlier of the year was our duel of the day against Linmar. They were able to knock them off, but they've had a weird schedule all year, and haven't really seen a lot of these bigger ranked teams. So interested to see if they're battle tested for a team like Indianola.
Yeah, so I started them out at 18, so they were the lowest in 3A, but like I said, they beat Linmar early in the year. That immediately bumped them up. Then they didn't face some of these teams here, but this is their second year in a row making it, 4th overall. Really, this duel is pretty interesting here when you look at it. It's not just, hey, Indianola has all these 1-ranked guys, Hempstead has these 12-ranked guys. There's some ones that are closer. You got at 132, you have Mitchell Murphy, number 12, against number 11, Ryan Young from Indianola. You got 11 versus 8 at 57 with Fish and Pointer there. And then, 215, 190. So, again, this is one of those where the guys are both ranked and it's pretty close. So one team starts out hot, watch out,
Yeah. No, and that's a lot of guys are like those mid-ranked individual team, right? And then who traditionally is going to have that dual team ready to go that first round. So Matt Crossan, he's a freshman, highly decorated wrestler. They've got 4 freshmen at the starting of the lineup. Yeah. Nelson, Crossan, Wood, Hilton. They've got Cox, Blewett, all freshmen for the Indianola squad. So very, very young. Crossan's been battle-tested as well. So him against Gottschalk, number 9th ranked wrestler. Pins is back. I heard he's been kind of dealing with some injuries. So if everyone's healthy, this one's going to be a sneaky good duel. Yeah. But you got to favor Indianola here just because they are undefeated. On paper, they're the team to beat. Okay, going forward, I like Southeast Polk. The Centennial and Dodge match is going to come down to bonus at those upper weight classes. If those guys can get bonus, C4 Dodge moving on. Bottom side, who do you like moving on from here?
I think Bettendorf takes out Indianola in the semis. Okay. I think it's close. I think, really realistically, I don't know if you can say this in any other bracket, even on the bottom half, where there's maybe 4 teams that really have a shot at the finals, but I still think Bettendorf comes on top here.
Yeah, bonus points in those. If they can get bonus points in some of these ranked matchups, at 13, if they can hold off, it's going to be Crossan, Luna, potentially ranked matchup there. 26, they're going to be favored. They'd be Coaster versus Hilton at 32. They're going to be favored at 38. They're going to be favored at 44. They're going to be favored. Yeah. So they're favored on paper again, up against Indianola in a lot of these matchups. So, you kind of have to look at that and can't. I don't know. It's hard to. Duels, again, is a momentum type of thing, right? That's why we love duels. So if you got Bettendorf moving on, Southeast Polk, same kind of deal, right? Where we've got a ton of ranked matchups. What do you like to see here from Bettendorf and Southeast Polk?
Oh, nothing crazy here. I think Southeast Polk comes out on top. They've just been head and toes above everybody this year. Like you said, they got 12 ranked guys, had 13, and the other guy that isn't ranked's pretty good too. So they have other guys they can put in that are maybe worthy of being ranked on other teams. I just don't see anybody touching them.
They've got Southeast Polk, number 1. It's just the lineup: 1, 6, 2, 3, 5, 6, 9, 5. They've got only one ranked wrestler not in the top 8 outside the top 2 that aren't ranked. Those 2 that aren't ranked. So there's no holes in this lineup. No. They really don't even have to move around. No. Right? They don't need to bump around. They don't need to do anything flashy. So if they don't try to overthink it, I think this is Southeast Polk chance to get back on top of the state dual championships that they so desperately want. Right? That tradition of the Rams coming back on top. So
2020 was the last time.
Yeah, so and it seems like it's been a while, right? I mean, there just has been that back and forth with them and Waverly Shell Rock. So I know that Coach Agnes and company definitely want to get that T-shirt out of the box. Whatever saying they got on it, look for it. It's gonna happen. So, all right. So that's really kind of the bow on Class 3A. Overall, just want to say, thanks for joining us, driving from Bosco to come here. I want to give a shout out to the High School Athletic Association for, teasing these brackets to us a little bit. We kind of had a good idea of what these brackets would look like. It's there's some people doing comments online. They're saying, we kind of know what they are, but really you don't, because we don't know what that 7th and 8th seed was going to look like. Based off, regionals and traditional, just kind of how the coaches are thinking, because they do reseed the brackets technically. Yeah. Your top 4 stayed all the same, right? Top 5 and 6 stayed all the same. The 7th and 8th really, they kind of changed a little bit, right?
Yeah.
So that's all. This is going to go down Saturday, Stream Arena, all day long. They're going to wrestle all the brackets through. We'll be there for coverage. Keep it locked on I Wrestle. You're going to be in the building. We got boys got districts on Sunday. So
big day Sunday. We'll see. Yeah, I mean, you got your top half of your bracket wrestles first, so you'll have 1 versus 8, 4 versus 5 through that first round. Second time through is the bottom half. So yeah, we'll see. I don't know. What do you think? Should I come down?
Absolutely.
Okay, all right.
Absolutely. So keep it locked to I Wrestle all week with the Girls State Championship on Thursday, Friday. We'll have tons of highlights from you, behind-the-scenes stuff. We've got a ton of I Wrestle people in the house. We went from having just a few to having a whole slew of I Wrestle people there. It's kind of fun how that always ends up happening, where people are like, I'm not sure if I want to go, and then we have them. So we'll be at the Girls State Championship, the state duels on Saturday. Then we'll be back on Sunday for the AAU districts. Top 4 go to Wells Fargo Arena for the youth wrestlers. Great Iowa USA State tournament in Cedar Rapids. Great venue. First time getting to experience that as a coach, as a dad. So really excited for the postseason. Keep it locked to I Wrestle. Thanks for watching.